Hey, how's it going, everyone? I got a special guest here with me, Justin Elliott, aka Ray Finkel, the latest 1.2 million Donkey Kong player, and we're gonna just chat about stuff.
Stuff.
Yeah,
Exciting stuff. Yeah. So, hey,
How-
Walter.
yeah. How are you doing? Yeah. I'm Walter. I go by Ursets Cats online.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I know we've talked a lot on Twitter over the last few months, and it's good to finally see you face to face in a virtual environment. So, very cool.
yeah. It's great to have you on. Great to exactly. We've been chatting on text so long. It's always nice to get the human interaction, the human element, if you will.
Oh man. I don't know. I don't know if I will, but maybe. Maybe.
Well, I mean, as much human interaction as we are today, I guess it's a little silly calling a Zoom call human interaction, but
Yeah. It's better than nothing, right? It's like
yeah,
we didn't have
absolutely.
we
In
didn't
this
have
day
this
and
stuff,
age,
10 or 20 years ago. So maybe we did. I can't remember. Time's flying by. I don't know.
I hate to say, I think your audio is cutting out just a tiny bit, or like
Is it?
intermittently.
Oh, maybe I'm just not talking loud enough. Let me check my settings real quick. Uh,
We can
this
kind
could
of
be it.
clip this part out later if it's too long.
Hold on one sec. Come on. Okay, is this better? Is this too loud?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's good. It was like an intermittent thing. It's like it was like while you were talking, suddenly it would dip
Okay.
out.
Hmm. I don't know. I just got this laptop today. It's
Oh,
actually,
nice.
yeah. So it could be something to do with that.
Ooh, yeah. Well,
Um, Let me know if it keeps happening.
all right.
Okay.
Hopefully, we'll get through it. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself. I introduced you briefly, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, my name is Justin. I also go by Ray Finkel on Twitch and YouTube, Twitter, and I'm the current MAME Donkey Kong record holder with 1,206,900, and I got that score back in October, so like 6 or 7 weeks ago. Um, yeah, and
I remember when you got that. By the way, that was a really big deal. I don't know if listeners really understand. Dean Saglio had that like for how long?
he's been the MAME champion for many years. I think he was the MAME holder for 11, and and he had that score since 2013. So quite a while. Yeah, and I know that when Surfy was coming up and Robbie and them, they transitioned over to arcade somewhere around like the 1.1 something mark. So they obviously would have probably beaten it. They were still playing on MAME, but yeah, to hold that score for as long as he did, it's crazy. And he's still going. He's still going. I have no doubt that he's going to put up a bigger score very soon. So
Mm,
he's been playing for a long time.
yeah, he's up to NG.
Yep. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a really good dude. But yeah, I started playing the game around July 2018, and so I'm kind of one of the newer guys to the scene, although it's been a little over 2 years now. So I kind of missed a lot of the hot action from after King of Kong, and I think like into all the Kong offs and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of history there. They used to have like a Kong blog and stuff like that, which I'll look back on, I'll read up on it and stuff like that. So I came to the scene a little bit late, but it actually was a really good year this year for Donkey Kong. We had the Kong League, which hosted several different tournaments, and it brought a whole bunch of us together in this Discord, and it was a really awesome season. Super fun. But yeah, like going back to when I started, I've been gaming basically my whole life. I'm 36 now, and I started when I was like 4. My first memories is just like as we kind of talked about offline, it's like NES games coming up, and I can remember playing like Atari 2600 and some like Duck Hunt. And my uncle wouldn't actually let me play Mario one. He's like, no, this game's too hard for you. He wouldn't let me touch it. I could only play Duck Hunt. It pissed me off so much. And so I came up with all these NES games and, eventually made the transition to the next console, which for me was Genesis. Kind of wish I had played SNES, but I missed a lot of SNES games, which I'm actually trying to catch up on now later in life. But played a lot of Genesis. And then when the PlayStation era came out, that was when I got kind of obsessed with my first big game. And it was, and maybe you can guess what it is. It was a PS1 era RPG. Pretty big one.
Well, there's Final Fantasy VII. There's like Star Ocean. That was it. Yeah.
Well, I love Star Ocean too. It's funny that you say that, but Final Fantasy VII, man. It's the first game I got like super addicted to, and I wanted to like break it. I wanted to know everything about it, and went online. I started communities and just like did everything I could to like just hundreds of hours, probably thousands, honestly, just trying to max my characters out, get the best stats and all this stuff, and trying to get like a perfect file. And this was years and years ago. And it's funny because I thought I was so good back then, but like it's a community now with the speedrunners and stuff like that. They have shattered the game. It's like insane how good these guys are at it. So like the things I knew then were like nothing compared to the stuff these guys are doing now. But yeah, that was the first time I was ever like hooked on a game. And after that, I played a lot of RPGs for the next several years, and then I got hooked on the Halo games on Xbox. And my background is kind of like sports and stuff like that. I was always competitive with basketball and baseball, and after high school, it was harder to get that competitive outlet, and I was always a gamer, so I was like, well, there's this thing called Xbox Live, which came out in like 2004, I think. And I don't know if you remember any of this, but Halo 2 was the first game that was ever on Xbox Live or something like that. And it was cool because you could finally compete against everybody else in the world. And of course it was online, there was lag, there was bad latency and stuff like that. But it was my first experience competing in gaming, and it was just addicting. Like I got hooked super fast. And I did that for many years, and I never quite took it anywhere that I should have taken it. I kind of sold myself short with all of that. And after a while, I started thinking about, and like this is, when I say a while, I'm talking like 10 plus years. I started thinking like, man, I want to do something cool with gaming, but like, I'm not ever going to go anywhere with Halo because I realized I was more of like an individual player. Like I should have played tennis instead of basketball. I don't know. I should have been a sprinter or something like that. Like I just enjoy like taking hold of something myself and trying to like maximize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, I thought about it and I was like, man, I'm going to either choose to speed run or I'm going to play Donkey Kong. Cause years earlier I had seen King of Kong, which we've all seen King of Kong, probably. Who was watching this. I don't know exactly when I saw it. It was probably, not when it came out. I know it came out in like 2007, right? So.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in theaters 2007.
Right. I didn't see it until like probably early 20-teens, maybe like 2012, 2013 or something. And I thought it was really cool at the time. I never gave it much thought after that, but I remember sometime in like 2017, I watched it again and I was like, man, I'm just going to play Donkey Kong. So I downloaded MAME, and I didn't know exactly how it worked. So I ended up downloading like 3 different versions of MAME, and I found Donkey Kong and I played it for like 10 minutes and I was like, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore. I literally quit. I was like, this is not that fun. And yeah, I don't know if I told you this, but so I played it for like 10 minutes. I was like, yeah, I'll just go back to something. Because I play some like World of Warcraft too, which I'm also trying to quit. But, just other games were just more appealing to me, especially like the social, interaction on certain games. Like these days, a lot of stuff's online, and it's cool to play like stuff with your friends and stuff too. And so it was kind of hard to get into Donkey Kong. And then another like 9-10 months went by, And at this point, I'm really not enjoying like Halo anymore. Like Halo 5 was out, and I was like, the scene was kind of dying. It wasn't as fun. And my friends were just kind of not playing it much anymore. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try Donkey Kong again. So I went back to my MAME that I downloaded, still the same one, MAME 186,
Hmm.
and I just started playing it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give myself at least like 2 hours of playing this. And so I did. I gave myself like 2 hours to play, and I was just like, I got hooked. I just got hooked. Like I was like, I'm gonna get 20,000 points. Okay, I got 20,000 points. I'm gonna get 40,000 points. I got 40,000 points, and you just keep setting new goals. And I just kept hitting them, and I was like, man, this is addicting. Like I don't know how far I can take this. So I knew about the kill screen from King of Kong, so I was like, I am just gonna get a kill screen. That's gonna be the greatest. I'm gonna get a kill screen. I'm gonna get into the top 100, and that's gonna be it. I'm gonna be done. It's like I'm gonna accomplish my goal. And so I started practicing, and I submitted my first score like 240,000 or something like that. Maybe like a month into playing or something. And then I submitted another one. It was like 300 something. And I think I submitted a 400 something. I can't quite remember. But after about 10 weeks, so like 2.5 months, something like that, I got my first kill screen, and I submitted it, and I was super happy. And I was like, after a day or so, I was like, I'm not satisfied. And I think anybody that's watching this who plays knows exactly how I feel. It's like
Hmm.
you say you're just going to stop here, and then you just keep going. And it's like, it's exactly what happens in Donkey Kong. You hit your goal, and then you're like, I can do better. And so you start learning more and more and more. And by the way, cut me off if I'm talking too much. I know I'm
Oh,
rambling on here.
this is your hour, man. I'm digging it.
Okay, thanks, man. No, I just I decided after my kill screen that I was like, you know what? I just got a crazy idea in my head. I've always been super competitive. I was like, I'm gonna try to get in the top 15. That's my next goal. I'm gonna go from kill screen to top 15, which is like a 50. I don't know. I landed at like 67 when I got the kill screen, and so it was a 50 placing jump. And
It's insane
obviously,
that there are that many kill screeners now.
yeah, man. There's like I don't know. There's like I think just over like 100 now, like 100. And I'd have to double check, but yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. I think only like 10 years ago there were only like less than 10 or something like that. It's crazy. It's crazy how much it's evolved.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I got my kill screen, and I started. That's when I started to go on the streams and find out like who's the best, who are the best players, like who can I learn from, and at the same time, well, I'll tell you that story later. Actually, we'll save it for the end. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So no, I just started learning from all the players. I think the first person I watched was Kig666, Thomas Bauer. He's a
hmm.
great player. I can't remember exactly where he's from, but he was in the top 10. He was like the 10th ranked player, and he streamed every single day for hours and hours and hours. And I would just go to his stream, and I would just watch him, and I would just be like, what is he doing? How's he doing it? And then I would go and I would practice. Like I made all these things, like all these save states on MAME, like a couple barrel board saves and springs and rivets and pies. And I just practiced them over and over. My goal was just to drill all these things into my muscle memory, into my brain. And then I'd go and I'd watch him, and then I would learn about like Surfantizer, John McCurdy, who's my opinion is the best player in the world, and Robbie and Wes and Dean and all these great players. Um, and it just took off, and I started learning and I started learning. And then sometime around January 2019 is when I started streaming for the first time. And it was pretty nerve wracking, like, getting on stream and being like, broadcasting your gameplay was kind of a whole new thing for me. So I started doing that, and met a bunch of people that way. And I was grinding, man. I was grinding for top 15, and I kind of learned how to group and how to use the bottom hammer and all this stuff. And if you want to know more about like the tactics, I can get into all that. But
I was gonna ask
basically,
that later. Yeah.
yeah, I basically just grinding, man. I was just working my butt off, and it took a while. It took so I got my first kill screen October 2018, and then I finally broke into the top 10 in October 2019. So it took another year to to basically like hit my goal. I think at some point in there, I was going for 1.1. That was my goal. And then I realized I was going to go even crazier and try to just get top 5. So I started out, I was like, I'm going to get top 15. And then I started learning other tricks into how to get into the top 5. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to try to do that. So I just grinded. And during that grind, I actually hit a million a few times, but I didn't submit them because I was like, I don't know, just this weird thing in my head. I was like, I'm not going to submit a score until I hit my goal first.
Oh, wow, all
And
right.
yeah, so there was a time, I think it was May 2019. So 7 months after my kill screen, I hadn't hit my goal. I was getting frustrated. I was like, man, this sucks. Like, it's hard. It's not easy to do that. And I was like, I still haven't even hit a million points, let alone 1.1. So I decided in May, I was like, I'm just going to stop doing all this risky 1.1 stuff, and I'm going to start doing just trying to get a million points. And I
Mhm.
did. It took about like a week of doing that, of just trying to do the million points, and I got it. It was like 1,068,000 or something like that. So that was like 10 months into playing the game. I got 1,068,000. And then I went back into grinding for 1.1, and that took another 5 months. And yeah, it broke me into the top 7. And from there, I just kept trying to improve. And there's a lot of players they're out there playing, and I made a lot of friends with a lot of the different guys who are playing. Super awesome community, by the way. Just really great guys and girls that play. And we all just go to each other's streams, support each other, and have fun. But yeah, broke into the top 7, and then after that, my next goal was 1.2, and so basically, I wanted to get into the top 4, and I played a game in when was it? I think it was uh, it was maybe another 7 months after that or something like that. I hit 1.184. I died 2 screens before the final screen. So
Mm.
I would have gotten 1.2, have been really close, but that put me in the top 5. And then 2 months ago, so maybe like sometime in early October, I finally broke through. I got the 1.2. So
That's awesome.
that's
I,
where I'm
I
at.
remember.
Yeah, long
I
story.
remember.
Boring,
I
but
remember we were chatting. I remember you telling me you really wanted to get the MAME world record.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that was my big goal, is I wanted to get that record. By the way, I only beat it by 100 freaking points, so I kind of feel like I cheated it a little bit. Like, it's like, I think when it's funny because Robbie was there too, and when Robbie first got 1.2, he got the same score I did, 1.2069. So we both beat Dean by 100 points. So unfair to Dean, but I know Dean's going to put up a huge score soon. But but yeah, it was nice to finally hit my goal, and now I'm just trying to let go of all of the uh, just kind of break through, because let's be honest, like Surfy and Robbie are like a cut above everybody else.
They're,
Yeah, they're
we were talking
nuts.
last night. I've heard it described that like they talk about tiers. Like everyone other than them are here, and they're like 3 tiers above that.
Yeah, yeah, there are a lot of tiers above that. Yeah, it's I don't think most people don't really understand just exactly how good they are. It's just a whole nother level. There's so many different things that they're doing, and they're doing them consistently. They're doing them super duper efficiently, and they're doing them like every time they play. And Surfy, like, he's dropped like 25 or 30 like 1.2 games now. It's just a joke at this point for him.
I,
So
I've
it's
seen it. He
awesome.
passed it, and it's just like nothing because he's
Dude, he
he's
had
shooting
another one
more.
yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, or something like that. Like, he just gets on. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna get like," and it's not just a 1.2; it's like a 1.24 plus, like every time he plays. So any day now, I think he'll break through. And Robbie's still grinding. Robbie had a pretty nutty one today too. He had an insane pace. So at any point, these guys are gonna just keep pushing it up and up, and I'm just trying to catch up to them. So it's fun. It's exciting.
Yep, yep. Now
I
you're
wish they would just
currently
stop playing, give me a chance already, but no, that's not gonna happen. No, I'm just kidding.
you're currently at number 4, right, behind Wes and Robbie and Surfy.
Yep. Yep. Number 4. So yeah, the next goal is kind of like to probably get to number 3, like by boosting my score by another 20 to 30,000 or so. And then after that, I'll start thinking about world record. But that's still like you were saying, the tiers. There's I'm a couple tiers away from that. I know how to do it. I just don't have the consistency. And I also have not normalized super good paces yet. Like you get pretty nervous once you're on a really big pace, you know? And you start kind of playing a little bit more safe and stuff like that. I'm not really to that breakthrough point where mentally, if I'm on a big pace, I might start thinking, "Ooh, I better be careful." And once I start thinking I got to be careful, it's not good. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I start losing points and stuff like that. So, but yeah, hopefully within another year, I'll be somewhat competitive with that. But we'll see. I also need to get a freaking arcade machine.
Those are
Everybody's
my next
busting my
question. When
chops.
arcade?
Well, I've been talking to some people, so I guess wait and see. Um, I don't know. Maybe soon. I kind of want to put more meat on that MAME world record bone, but
Oh,
we'll see. We'll see. It's also much easier to play on MAME. I mean, let's be honest. Like physically, it's easier, but also like I don't have to worry about wires breaking and joysticks breaking and buttons. Like these guys go through hell when it comes to machine repair, and eventually I'll do it. Excuse me. Eventually I'll do it, but yeah, until that happens, we're on MAME for now. So
yeah.
yep.
What are some strategies? Like what are because this is something I'm really interested in. What are kind of some of the strategies that separate a 1 mil player from a 1.1 and then a 1.1 from a 1.2?
Yeah, it's a good
I know it might be
question.
hard to explain without the graphic visual element, but
A little bit, yeah. I think people that are probably watching this have probably at least played the game a little bit, and they sort of know like each of the boards, like the barrels and the pies and all that. The big difference between like, well, we can start even earlier than that if you want, like going from a kill screen to a million points. A kill screen is just a thing where you're just trying to get to the end of the game. You don't care about point pressing, you don't care about all that stuff. You just want to get to the end. And so when you get a kill screen, a lot of people's first kill screen, like mine was 888,000. A lot of people get somewhere between like 850 and 900, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. So when somebody wants to break into the 1 million barrier, the big change that they have to make is they have to start grabbing those bottom hammers on barrels. Because traditionally in a kill screen, you skip the bottom hammer and you just try to get up to the top of the board, grab the final hammer and get out of there. You're just playing ultra safe. But with a million points, you want to get that bottom hammer, get a whole bunch of smashes, move up, get the top hammer, get a whole bunch of smashes, and complete the board. And you also have to be pretty efficient. You can't really be. So, are you familiar with like barrel steering and all that stuff? So
yeah, kind of.
barrels.
It's not always consistent, but yeah, you.
Yeah, exactly.
Carl Jobs did a really good explanation. I didn't know before watching that video that you can actually steer
Oh
barrels at
yeah,
the
he did
top of the
great.
screen when you're on the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. Carl did a great job with that video. Yeah, with barrels, obviously if there's barrels above you, you can steer them to certain ladders by running into the direction of that ladder, and it might make it go down that ladder. There's like a 75% chance that it'll do that. And so what happens is though, a lot of times when you're oversteering them, those are points that you're losing. You're costing yourself points. You could be jumping them, um, and you could be moving up to the top of the barrel board a little bit cleaner, a little bit more efficiently. A lot of players oversteer them out of the way. They try to be a little too safe when they're going for a million points, which it might be okay if you can do the other boards pretty well, but mainly the million points comes down to the barrel board. You want to be pretty quick on pies. You want to be pretty quick on elevators. So elevators, the springboard. A lot of people will suggest grabbing those first two prizes on the springboard, getting to the top, and then just trying to finish it. You obviously have to practice the springboard. The springboard is one of those big roadblocks for a lot of newer players. After level 4, they're really tough at the top. They've got these like long, short patterns that you have to figure out and understand, and they're tough to get by. And so you can lose a lot of points if you're sitting around waiting too long on those things. You have to practice really to try to get through it quickly. But mostly it comes down to the barrel board. And when it comes to 1.1 million points, it's the same thing. It's also going to come heavily down to the barrel board. So for 1.1, the difference between 1 million and 1.1 is that, and a big part of it is that you not only grab the top or the bottom hammer now, but once you get to the top of the barrel board, you have to start doing what's called barrel grouping. And barrel grouping is one of those things a lot of players they look at, and it's hard to kind of explain without without the visual, but essentially what you're doing is there's, at the top hammer of the barrels, you can do this maneuver where you're constantly creating combos with the barrels. So you jump them, you get 300 points, and then you go back down the ladder, you jump them again and get another 300 points, and you just kind of keep a rhythm of doing that. And sometimes you can get 500 points and re-jump 500 points and things like that. And over time, if the game lets you do it, meaning like the fireballs aren't chasing you out of the board and stuff like that, it will add up to a considerable number of points. And that's the big difference between a 1 million point player and a 1.1 million player, is that the 1.1 million player has to deal with not only bottom hammers, but he's also dealing with top hammers. And then the difference between a 1.1 and 1.2 player, man, it starts getting pretty deep. I'll tell you, excuse me. Yeah, it starts getting pretty deep. So basically, with 1.2, it's just a really efficient game. You have to be really, really clean with the way you maneuver through your boards. If we talk about barrels, obviously you're getting the bottom hammer, the top hammer, you're doing grouping, but you're doing it in such a way that your rhythm is really solid. You are able to constantly understand Kong's, he throws barrels and stuff like that. He's releasing them. You're kind of understanding his release cycle to a degree that you know when to steer things, when not to steer things. And you're just constantly able to have this nice flow where you can group for days. And then, another big thing to mention as well is that when you're getting that bottom hammer, 1.2 players are getting a lot of smashes. They're getting a lot of barrel smashes, or they're getting multiple blue barrel smashes, and it allows them to get up to the top and spend more time up there. I could go on for days about this kind of strats, but essentially what it comes down to is just hyper efficiency, and a lot of freaking hard work. Like, you got to play a lot. You got to watch a lot of the gameplay from the top players, and you just got to rinse and repeat. It's not easy, and it can be very, very frustrating. It's a very frustrating game because there's a lot of RNG involved as well.
Yeah.
The game can just screw you, and at the 1.2 level, and even at the 1.1 level, it's a 3-hour plus game, and so it could just completely rob you at any point. So I think a lot of players like myself, we kind of get like PTSD from it. We got to take a break for a couple days. Like, just I can't tell you how many times I've been deep in a game and some rivet board just crushes me with fireballs. They just pinch me from both sides, and you can't go anywhere. Something you can do, and it's frustrating, but a good player will always learn from their mistakes, and they'll always work to improve and do everything they can to get better. It's not an easy task, but it's very rewarding when you finally hit your goal. That's for sure.
But I'm not going to name any names, but there's some great rage videos out there from people that got screwed on.
I know. Fantastic. I mean, I feel bad enjoying them, but I kind of
It's true. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
But they're so good. I won't name names either, but I did see a couple where they slow down the rage, and the rage is in super slow motion. And there's just like this violin music playing, and it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But,
oh no.
I'll have to send that one to you later. Man. Yeah, it's rage inducing, it's really tough. It's mental warfare. That's what it is. It's mental warfare. And you have to have a really strong ability to like overcome all the screwings that happen to you. And, it's just, and like I said, anybody watching this knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's just a tough game, and you have to be able to figure out like whether you're making mistakes or if the game actually screwed you. Even if the game does screw you, there's still probably something to learn from it. So it's a lot there. It's a lot of work.
And even if the game screws you and there's nothing to learn, I mean, you just got to get back on the horse.
Yeah. If there's nothing to learn, you just get on the horse. You just hope it doesn't happen again, but eventually it will. So do what you can, man. You do what you can. Yep.
And Surfy and Rob, they've been, I don't think Surfy has overtaken him in the last, since, I think Robbie took it back in June, the record, but Surfy has since surpassed that, but I don't think he's overtaken Rob.
Yeah. Well, Robbie hit the new record 3 times since June. So he pushed it up another, I think, 12,000 points from what it was when Surfy had it. So both of those guys, and Surfy's only like 1,500 or so behind him now. He just PB'd, I think, last month. So it's neck and neck. So I think the record now is 1,271.1. I know Surfy has, I think, 269.6. So it's just like they're right there. Actually, the difference between that game for both of them was the start. It was Robbie just had a higher start.
Oh
That's
wow!
really
All
all it
right.
boils down to. Yeah, it's crazy. There's just not much separating those guys. You know, they just need to keep grinding and hope that the RNG goes in their favor and that they can execute. Really, I mean, eventually somebody's going to get, I don't want to say 1.3 quite yet, but that's it. That is a magic number that's been talked about for years.
That was the
1.3
next
million.
question I was going to ask. The 1.3.
Yeah. Well, the numbers that are required to hit that are all doable. They're not like insane. They are insane numbers, but they're not like numbers that these guys haven't hit. And I can hit some of them occasionally too, but it's basically you have to average about 66,000 a level. You have to have about 145,000 or 140,000 start, and you have to have big death points. And that's probably the big one is that, you know, death points are really, they can really screw you. Like so many times you can start like a pie board, for example. You can go up, collect the prize, try to get the hammer, and the fireball just chases you down, and you ended up getting like 800 death points.
Yeah.
And you need like 14,000 death points, like per guy, pretty much to have a shot at 1.3. Um, Realistically, right now, one of those two guys is going to end up passing 1.28, possibly 1.29, most likely within the next like 6 months, I would say. It's crazy, man. And like I wasn't around back then, but I can remember, you know, just historically, I love looking back and seeing all the, you know, all the stuff and all the history of the game and just reading like forum threads from 6, 7 years ago. And people are like 1.2, that's impossible. Like nobody's
Yep.
ever going to do that. And even with 1.1, it's like there's no way anybody's ever going to get 1.1. And now we're talking about 1.3,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, you probably should never say never, but with what we know, 1.3 will be the final 100,000 barrier. I can't see it, you know,
Can't see
notwithstanding like if there's
1.31.
not unless there's revolutionary strategies that are found. It's that's the only way that we're ever going to see that like a 1.4. Now
Oh,
theoretically,
you're talking 1.4. Oh gosh, yeah.
yeah, no, I'm saying well 1.3 is the final 100K barrier, but theoretically, I think if you go on Kong Tracker, which is a site that Wes Copeland developed, it's got a list of every, you know, all the players' games, their stats. You can compare players' games. It's really cool. There is a theoretical maximum score on there, which is never going to even come close to happening, but it's like 1.6 or something like that, something crazy. It's
What?
basically it's the sum of best of each level or
Wow.
each board, and so some of the boards have a ridiculous score, like barrels, for example. Like the world record barrel average, it's like I think it's like 13,400 or something like that, which is really really good. And the highest ever barrel board though was actually by Thomas Bauer, the guy I was talking about earlier. I think it's like 18,600. So that's like 5,000 more than the average on the world record. And 18,000 never happens. It happened one time to this guy because he got to the top of the board. And when you get to the top of the barrel board and the fireball's coming up, there's potential that that fireball, if he's a freezer, he will freeze and you can like leech points off the barrel plus the fireball at the same time. And if
Oh,
you could do that for like a long period of time, you could theoretically get a crazy score on the barrel boards, but it's not realistic. Realistically, we're looking at maybe somebody will get 14,000 on the average. Nobody's ever going to average 18,000. So the sum of best stuff is always fun to talk about, but it's super, super duper unrealistic. But
I had
yeah,
no
so
idea. I've been to Kong Tracker, but I had no idea the sum of best of each was up
yeah,
to 1.6. That's insane.
something like that. Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe it either. Well, because each board, it's like, yeah, I mean, if you have the maximum level of each board that's ever been done, and you do that every single time you get to that board, eventually the score is just, yeah, it's ridiculous. So I think like the highest rivet average, a rivet board is probably like 12 or 13,000, but you usually average like 7,500 to 8,500. So imagine averaging another 4,000 on that, and another 5,000 on the barrels, and another like 4,000 on the pies. It's like eventually this, you know, it adds up to a stupid number. So
Mhm.
Yep.
Let's see. So, I guess, well, there's a certain topic that's just kind of looming over everything. I don't know if we wanted to get to that now or have anything else
What
left
would
to
that
talk
be,
before
sir?
then.
Whatever are you referencing?
There's, I don't know if you heard about, there was a big score dispute a couple years ago. I mean, it's old news now, but
A score dispute? Are you serious? Did something happen? Did I miss
now you
something?
actually, it sounds like the when you first played was before the score dispute. When you said you just fired it up, you're like, oh, this game sucks. But then when you really got into it,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever told anybody that story about how I played it for like 10 minutes, but
that's what. Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't think I'd heard of it either. But you really got into it after the 2018 dispute, right?
Yeah. So I didn't actually start really getting into it until July 2018. Only reason I remember it is because I kept screenshots of all my high scores for like the first 2 or 3 weeks that I played. So I
Oh,
can go
cool.
back and I can see the first time I played was July 22nd. Like so that was pretty cool. Yeah, the dispute. Man, big stuff. So the dispute I think happened sometime in 2017, right? I think that's when the thread was started.
Yeah, the thread was started April or August 2017. It was just about the there was a board swap video,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
but then there the big enchilada was the MAME evidence, and that was published February 2nd of 2018.
Right. Oh, February 2nd. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So so when I got into the game, well, first of all, let's go back a little bit.
Sure.
So, you know, I told you I watched King of Kong sometime in the early 20 teens. I can't remember exactly when I watched it. I do remember thinking that the guy he inspired me. Like he inspired a lot of players. Um, and I think a lot of players will tell you that. Like this guy carried himself like a champion and he represented himself like he was this great player. And at one point, maybe he was. Um, but I probably wouldn't have played Donkey Kong if it wasn't for him in that movie. To be honest, it just was one of those things that made it more interesting, and I wouldn't have found the community and all this stuff. And so, credit to him for that. Like, I got to be transparent there. But the dispute, before I found the dispute, I think he started streaming on Twitch, and I can't remember exactly when. Do you know the dates that he started streaming?
It was like July or August. I don't remember the exact day. Sometime around then.
Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. So he started streaming around the same time I started playing. And of course, I was there. I was interested. I think a lot of people were like, what's he gonna do? Like, is he really any good? Like, let's go watch this. So I started going to his stream and I was new and I was learning the game and I thought I could learn from him as well. And so at one point, I got my kill screen. I started grinding for 1.1. And during that time, I had actually, been in the chat and I had chatted with a couple of people in there. And I think at one point, he was on, pace. He was at the end of the game. He was on pace to get a big score. And I helped, his friend Neil to calculate the pace. So I was like, oh, he needs this many points in order to get his goal. At the time, I think I knew about the dispute, but I didn't know really anything about the community. I didn't read the dispute. I think I just saw, hey, there's some questions here. And I don't know if the smoking guns were out yet or something like that. I can't quite remember. But at some point, probably in early 2019 is when I started to dive into that stuff. And, I started to really read from page one of the dispute. I was like, okay, what's going on here? And as stuff kept coming in and all these really weird things started showing up, I was like, okay, there's too much stuff here. Something doesn't make any sense. Something doesn't add up. And it became pretty clear that the dispute was for a good reason. And, I could no longer, support the guy. Like it was terrible. I mean, nobody wants to find out that somebody that inspired you is doing these shady things, you know, like I looked up to Michael Jordan as a basketball player. He's still, you know, somebody I look up to. If I found out that, you know, he was doing kind of illegitimate things, it would be sad. Like none of us as players wanted to find this stuff out, but it's necessary that we do, but we don't want him to be, you know, this person that he's become. You know, it's sad and it sucks, but it is what it is. And now he's just kind of gone off the deep end with all these lawsuits and crap. Like it's terrible. Like the people that are in this community that are part of this dispute are some of the best people that I've met. They're just super nice dudes who care deeply about this, the integrity of the scoreboard. And that's really it. You know, like he likes to say everybody's like a hater or whatever, you know, like, and sure, maybe he has some people that don't like him because of the movie or because of his hair or because of the way he presents himself. But we don't care about that stuff. We just care about the integrity of the scoreboard. Like that's all we care about. And clearly evidence shows you didn't play these games on arcade. I'm sorry, dude. Like you didn't. There's something weird there. And you know, to see it all happen is, it's like I said, it's a sad thing, but it's a necessary thing. And you know, of course, I side with all my friends over on DKF, and this TG lawsuit is just pretty nutty.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level,
dude. I think. I mean, look, if the guy has stepped on as many people as it sounds like he has, the truth deserves to come out, and you know, let it play out like it should. Honestly, I think you know, the important thing is that, well, one thing I think is important is that there's a lot of players out there in this space that don't really get that kind of attention, you know, that he does, because he's obviously very charismatic and very, very interesting. People want to know what he's doing, and you know, but there's so many players that are just like, and I don't want to say like they are way better, and maybe it's not a fair thing to say. The guy was a gamer, you know, a long time ago. You know, in the 80s, he was somebody really, really good. But it's true. I mean, there's some players, you know, even Weeby, he showed up to stream for like 2 weeks and he smoked 1.1. Like it was nothing. Like that's a gamer. You know what I mean? Like that dude's a gamer. And you know, just so many great gamers in this space. Like I was saying about McCurdy, Surfantizer, he's the GOAT in my opinion. Robbie, he's absolutely unreal. Dean, Wes, like these guys, Matt Tecchio out in Australia, Andrew Barrow, he's the greatest CAG player that there is, you know, and that's only on the Donkey Kong side too. Like, you know, there's so many players in the Pac-Man universe. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I know about Tim Valderramos, Rick Fothergill, David Race that you interviewed, like, yeah, and John Studley, huh? Yeah,
David Cruz is another one. John Studley, like you say,
just insanely good players that don't get nearly the notoriety that he does, and it's, you know, I guess it's just how it goes. I mean, people love the drama, I suppose, but there's just some, there's just some.
There's also the movie factor. Because like a lot of people that are excited when Weeby doesn't show up often, but when he does, people get pretty excited for him too.
Yeah, Weeby's awesome. You know, he lays low these days, but I think probably for good reason. I mean, there's a lot of drama. He's a smart man. But it was cool. He showed up, you know, and started streaming, and I talked to him very briefly. He actually made me a mod of his channel, which was really cool. But he after that cool. he only streamed a few more times after that, but that's just my guess. I have no idea. Don't get awesome. Like that's really cool that he just came back, and after a couple of weeks of playing, there it is, 1.1. So well deserved. Glad he broke through. I think he's going to try to get 1.15. That's what he said when he said he was coming back. His goal was 1.15. So I could see him coming back probably, you know, in 6 months when summer hits and maybe school's out. But yeah, Steve's great. I bought some wine. I never drink wine, but I was like thinking about it. Like, I don't know, like I went to, you know, my mom's for Thanksgiving, and she's a big wine drinker. And I've never drank wine in my life. I've always hated it, but I decided recently I'm going to start drinking some of it. I don't care. So I bought all this random stuff. This is sangria. It's pretty freaking good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, man. I don't want to get like become an alcoholic or anything. I don't drink like ever, but It's pretty good. It's pretty nice to take the edge off at night sometimes and just chill out.
No, yeah.
Delicious.
I rarely drink, but I have a rule of keeping just one bottle of whiskey somewhere because you never know. I've had like
Yes.
a dog die randomly or something. You never know. You just like,
You need
I
it.
just need a
Yeah.
drink right now.
Throw back. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, it's nice. I I just bought this one tonight, and you know, I don't want to go through it too quick. So just maybe one glass every week or something like that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Relaxing.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like
did you
past
see
2 a.m. for you.
yeah, it's pretty late, man. That's okay. Did you see Steve Klesak? He's going for I think 1.07, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I've seen him
Grinding.
streaming a little. I didn't catch him tonight.
Yeah, he's been grinding. It's cool. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
I hope he does it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mentioned him because I know you interviewed him. Was it 2 weeks ago or something like that? Him, David, and
Yeah, it's been about a
Carlos.
month, but yeah.
Okay. Wow. Man, time flies.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great guy.
Yep. He's got to teach me how to play Mario Brothers sometime. I've never played that. I
Right. Yeah,
played it
he's
like,
still.
yeah.
He holds the record on nearly every variation on Mario Brothers,
Oh, really?
classic Mario Brothers singles and doubles. I did a
Yeah.
text interview with him, and when we did the text interview, it actually was literally every variation, but somebody's added a new one to TG. I forget what it is, some
Man,
kind of oddball one, and he doesn't have that one yet, but he has every other variation.
that's crazy. He's a gamer. He's a
Yep,
gamer,
yep.
that's for sure. Yeah. 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 So hopefully this dispute, you know, I I thought that there was supposed to be something that happened this week or something, or next week, or it was put up 80,000 or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
can't quite.
word is, I don't even know if this is public, but I'll say it anyway. Word is that he did finally get the 81K deposit up.
No way. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
and
Where are we getting?
I asked to see if maybe one would be able to tell from the court paperwork whether like he put it up cash or whether it was like a bondsman or something. And apparently it won't say it. It just says that it's covered. So
My gosh.
you won't know unless his people say, and even if they do say, we.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, buckle up. We're in for a long
Yeah,
ride.
yeah.
It's too bad.
This will be a few more years, but
Yeah. I just wish I'm an optimist, and it's probably really dumb. I just wish that, you know, people like that do things like this would just fess up, and just say, look, I'm sorry that. I mean, it would have to be a pretty mighty apology at this point,
at this point,
considering
yeah.
how far he's already gone with it. But man, it's like I don't understand why you can't just bite the bullet and just be like, you know, you can't say you're an ambassador for the game and then completely disrespect the game. That's what he
Mm-hmm.
does. He disrespects the game with what he did and what he continues to do. So, it would be it'd be nice to just finally have him say, like, look, for whatever reason, I wasn't playing back in 2005 and 2008 and 2010 or whenever those three scores were. Like, yeah, and I couldn't, I didn't have the time, so I made these tapes, and it was supposed to be, for fun, but then it got taken too seriously, and then, it's
Yeah.
like, just admit it, dude. Like, it's, yeah, people would hate you for a while, but it'd be better in the end. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, just show some humility and be humble, and but that's the way I think, and that's not the way that everybody thinks.
Yeah.
So
He never even had to strictly admit he cheated. He could have just said, "I really did scores that were higher than that, but
yeah,
I was
right,
too busy with my family and stuff. We put together, and
yeah,
everyone would know the real truth, but he didn't have to, capital A admit it.
yeah,
He just had to
yeah, yeah. He
not
didn't have
waste
to.
everyone's time by arguing that the tapes are anything other than what they are.
I mean, that would have still been the cowardly way, but it would have been a better way than what has transpired since. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. He wouldn't have wasted everyone's time. We could have just said, "Okay, matter's settled. Let's move
people would
on."
have forgave him. People would have forgave him,
Yeah,
and
they would have.
and yeah, like I mean, maybe not everybody, but I think people would have been like, okay, I mean, People like a good comeback story, you know? I mean, if this dude had just been honest and he just got on Twitch and he said, okay, you're right, guys, I screwed up. And he got on Twitch and he started grinding and learning. I mean, look, he's a 1.09 player now. He's improved his game. Clearly, practice pays off. It's surprising, right? If you actually play it, you get better sometimes, you know what I mean? So
Sometimes.
if he could have just done that, like, I don't know. But again, that's just the way I think. And he's got this whole persona he has to hold up to, I guess, in his world. And I feel like if he probably thinks if he does, if he confesses or anything like that, he's going to be letting down a lot of people, and he probably will be. So, boy, it's just really crappy because it really craps on the rest of our community, and that's the part that really sucks. And that's just aside from lawsuits. Like, lawsuits is just disgusting. But yeah.
I've heard
Those
that
are my
sentiment from a
thoughts.
lot of people, that it's a great community, but it's just this thing that keeps going on, that keeps hanging over everyone's head.
Yeah, and it's just like, and there's people out there on YouTube and like they have an opinion about it, and there's just so much misinformation with this stuff as well. Like, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of it. Just people that don't quite understand what it's all about, and I can understand if family defends him and maybe if close friends defend him. Like, at the end of the day, he didn't murder somebody, you know, but what he did was a horrible thing in the gaming community. So I could see, like, his son defending him and whatever. Like, if my dad did that, yeah, I would defend my dad too. Like, I wouldn't go to the lengths that he's gone to. He's said some pretty horrible things to people, from what I've seen and from what I'm sure like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just really tough spot, I think, for his family probably, and I don't even know if his family knows. It's like, it's one of those things. I think he's living this lie for so long. Like, how do you just finally say, guys, I've been making it up the whole time? Like, I guess it's impossible. And now you're telling me he just put up the 81K. Like, who would do that? Who knows that they're lying? It's crazy. So
It's
what can you
nuts.
say?
I guess he feels like if he could just keep insisting, he can, keep up
Right.
the guys, I guess. But the evidence speaks for itself, man. It's overwhelming.
It's overwhelming. Yeah, and great stuff on that, Walter. By the way, you are a research genius, and you're right. There's just too many things.
Thank
It's
you.
not just the girder fingers and the board swap videos and all that stuff. It's like the guys that showed up to the first Kong off and they watched him play and something didn't make sense. You know, it's like when I watched him play when I was getting better at the game and I knew how to play 1.15 and I went and I watched him and I was like, something's not quite right. Like, he's not doing this right. He's doing this wrong. Like, he's taking this chance when he shouldn't be. Like, just he's a great gamer. I don't take anything away from that, but he's not somebody who had a 1.12 pace in 2010.
Hmm.
Sorry to tell you, it's just not something that he is. So, you know,
An
is what it
example I think you
is.
told me last night is he doesn't like watch Kong when he's at the lower board or something like that.
Well, I can't quite remember all the things he didn't do. I just remember when I was learning and getting better that he was just not doing some basic things like, yeah, on the fourth and fifth girder up on the barrel boards, he'd walk right past Kong's feet without thinking that he might drop a wild barrel. It's one of these basic things you think about when you're making certain maneuvers on the barrel board. You have to make sure that Kong's not about to drop one of those wild barrels right on your head, and he would just kind of walk through it all the time without thinking about it. It would just, and he would die to it, and he would just keep dying to it. He wouldn't learn from it. There were other things that didn't make much sense. Like, I think on the elevator board, he was a little bit slow in his transitions to each platform because I think he thought that the spring was going to hit him in a certain spot. And I was like, he's losing hundreds of points just sitting here waiting. You can just keep going. You're safe. He basically didn't know he was safe in a certain spot. So he
Hmm.
would just sit there and wait. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. You just keep moving. It's like, how does somebody who is apparently so good not know some of these basic things? So I don't know. I mean, since then he's gotten a lot better, and like I said, testament to actually practicing and playing. Since then, he's improved his game drastically, and I don't want to keep crapping on the guy, but when he put up those first few million-point games on Twitch, the only reason that he put up only 1,000,000 points is because he's way behind pace. It's the only reason. He said he was going to match his previous scores, but he got to the end of the game and he realized, oh crap, I'm way behind. I'm just going to kill myself off at 1,000,000 points because I'm a badass. It's like, no, dude, you're killing it off because you're way behind. You don't want to get 1,008,000 points. It doesn't sound as good as 1,000,000 on the nose. It's like, who are you kidding, man? Like, and his followers fall for it because they don't know any better. And there's nothing wrong with his followers other than that they're probably not really big gamers. They really don't know the whole story. It is what it is. You can't convince them otherwise. I think Billy represents a lot of things to a lot of those people. I think he represents the 80s to them, and they love the 80s. They love reminiscing about the arcade era, and they love Pac-Man, they love Donkey Kong and stuff like that, and they loved King of Kong. They love chasing ghosts. To them, he's just a celebrity, and they love going into this channel and supporting him, but they don't know anything about the dispute. So if somebody says, well, what about the girder thing? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, but stop being a hater. It's like, you can't get through to these people. So there's no point in even trying. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, we'll see in about
Get
2-3 years, however long it takes to, because now it's not just the lawsuit, it's the countersuit. And
get your popcorn ready, Walter.
oh yeah. I basically, I was interested in the score dispute, and I just kind of thought, oh, this will be a fun thing to cover and read about and write about, and the story will go on for like another.
What a rabbit hole, huh?
That'll be it.
That's it. I'll just take a look. Yeah, you fell down a rabbit hole, sir. You fell down a very deep rabbit hole. But it's good to have you.
When I'm ever crawling out of that one.
Yeah.
So what else you got going on lately? Any other games? Excuse me. I know you have a Donkey Kong tournament you got going on right now. I want to make sure to get for.
So if anybody's watching this who's a Donkey Kong player and you haven't gotten 1,000,000 points yet, I am hosting a tournament right now. It only goes for another 3 weeks or so. And maybe I'll talk to somebody about extending it because that doesn't seem like a very long time. But basically, the goal is to, if you haven't hit 1,000,000 points, you're eligible to sign up. And the first person to get 1,000,000 points gets $100, which has already taken place, actually. Sith of Spades had hit it, and he's a good friend of mine. He's a great dude. He's been itching to break through for a while. So he won. But there's other prizes, too. So if anybody else gets 1,000,000 points, they get $25. If anybody gets a kill screen for the first time, they get $15. And there's also a first, second, and third prize. So highest score, second highest score, third highest score. So if anybody wants to sign up, go for it. I think so far about 30 people are signed up. You just have to go to cagtournaments.com, and you should see Ray Finkel's, I think it's called Ray Finkel's 1,000,000 Point Challenge. And you just go in there. You got to create an account on the site. Go in there and sign up. Everything's free. And then you just play. I mean, if you do good, you submit your score. So,
awesome. Yeah, and I can put a link in when we get this posted, and the link in the video description.
Okay, that sounds good. You got to play, sir.
I do have to. Yeah, I got to squeeze it in. My top score is 100,000 ever.
Nice.
I apparently lucked out. Now level 4 is where the springs really start being crazy, right?
Yeah. Yep. Level 4 is when
I lucked out on one of those. I got to level 5 just enough and I saw I was approaching 100K. I was like, I just YOLO'd it, just get that hammer and get those last few points. There, I got it.
I love it, dude. I love it. That's great. No, this is what this tournament's for. It's just to have fun. It's like the whole point was, with the Kong League tournaments, it was everybody was entering, and all the top players were kind of winning all the tournaments. And a few players had mentioned, I wish there was a tournament, for people who hadn't hit 1,000,000 and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just make a tournament doing that. So I did. I just threw it together. It was super simple. And I worked with John Bart, awesome dude. And he threw it up on the website for me, and it's been going really smooth. So I definitely will be doing more of these in the future. And hopefully we can get a lot of people involved. It's just for people that want to break through. Like if they've been trying to hit 1,000,000 points for a long time, get in there and sign up and freaking get 1,000,000 points, man. Like it's
Oh yeah.
exciting to watch people do that. It's funny, and just kind of a random side note when it comes to watching other people play. Like, dude, I get more nervous watching other people hit PBs than I do playing myself. Like some of these guys, man, like I've been itching for them to get 1,000,000 points, and when they're at like 950,000, I am like shaking. I'm like so nervous. Like I'm playing and I get nervous too, but I can kind of, mentally zone out a little bit. But when I'm watching these dudes, I get super nervous. It's crazy. It's super exciting. It's such a good community, man. It really is.
Yeah, Alan Stahl's been getting much closer to 1 million.
Yeah, Alan is really close. He got 992 like maybe 2 months ago, which came out of nowhere. He had I think like a 913 or something like that
Whoa.
previously. Yeah, and so he'd been talking about 1,000,000 points for a long time, and to just break out a 70 something K PB, awesome, or 80 something. It's just crazy. Like so he's right on the door. I'm trying to help him a little bit with a couple things. I think he's getting a little bit more consistent, but he's got to stay in it mentally. It's a tough game. It's a brutal game. It'll get you down. So
Mm-hmm.
he'll get there though. I know he will. By the way, I think we've had like 4 or 5 new 1,000,000 point players this year. It's been a really good year for Donkey Kong.
Oh,
And there's
cool.
only like, yeah, there's only like 50 or something total, like 52, I think. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you for running that tournament. By the way, that sounds really exciting. I'm not going to be able to get 1 million by the end of the month, of course, but I'll definitely want to just put up something, just to put up something.
Yeah, no, that's all that matters. It's just about having fun. You should stream it, sir. I'll be there.
I should stream it.
That'd be awesome.
I'm wanting to get accustomed to MAME streaming anyway, so it's as good an opportunity as any.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I liked your Final Fantasy stream. What was that? That's what you streamed last time, right? FF6?
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
FF6.
FF6 randomizer. My first time playing that. That was back on
Yeah.
my birthday, a month or so
Yeah.
ago.
Streaming's interesting, man. Like I've got a friend of mine who is trying to stream, but he just hasn't gotten started yet. I'm like, you just got to get started. Just do it. Just
Yep.
it's just like so many things in life. You just have to start doing it. Like,
Yep.
and once you do, you get kind of used to it. You're like, oh, this is really great. I'm gonna keep doing it. So, trying to get him in there. Got
Yeah,
another friend who wants to play Donkey
just
Kong.
gotta pick a day. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It is fun. It's especially when you're playing a game you love. Like it just has a whole new dynamic to it. You got people watching and chatting about it. It's like I don't know. It's hard to describe it unless you've done it. So I would encourage people who don't stream, who are big gamers, to get on there. You'll make new friends and you'll have a new experience. It's really cool. So
Anything else going on besides the tournament right now?
not really. Not really. Just playing random games. I started speedrunning Double Dragon 2. That's been fun.
Nice.
Put up a pretty good score. It's like 14 something. But I've been thinking about getting more into speedrunning. So in between like doing all the Donkey Kong stuff, it's a good excuse to go back to playing my childhood games. It's kind of what I'm looking for. So Double Dragon 2 is one I came up with when I was a kid and played the crap out of it. And I was like, you know what? I'll just learn how to speedrun this. So I did. And I just started doing it on stream and I was terrible and I'm still terrible, but I'm getting better. So it's fun. It's there's no shame in being crappy at a game on stream. It's super fun to be able to laugh at yourself and
Yeah.
people are there and they just want to see you win. I mean, everybody gets all nervous about what people think of them on stream, but the only thing that we care about is watching people win. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
one of
about
the
it, man.
oh, yeah, and that's one of the appeals to me of speedrunning is all the games I grew up with are suddenly popular again because those little games are just great for speedrunning. There's
It's
no
awesome.
stage. They're usually like a 1 or 2 hour block of time or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so much nicer than Donkey Kong, man. Donkey Kong's like 3.5 hours. You always got to think
Yeah.
about, you always got to think when you start, what am I going to be doing in 3 hours? Am I going to be busy? Yes. Okay. Well, I can't start playing. So then you spend the
Yeah.
next 2.5 hours doing like something else because you just can't start a game. But with speedrunning,
Hmm.
yeah, it's like Like there's a new Super Mario Brothers 1 speedrun record. I think that was set like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And man, 5 minutes. It's so the record's like 4:55, like point 0.4 or something like that now. And it's like, man, these guys are super good. It's so cool to see the kids, these next generations, playing the same games that you and I
Hmm.
played when we were kids. Like, how freaking cool is that? Like, just breaking our childhood games completely
Yep.
apart. It's
The,
crazy. Like, I've
the
seen
NES
Punch Out
Tetris
just,
Championship was just beaten by a
oh, yeah.
13-year-old.
I know. And he beat his brother, right? He
Yep.
beat his 15-year-old brother. That's so cool, man. Literally, like these are the games we were came up with in the late '80s, like early '90s, and they're being competed on all these years later. That's so cool.
It really
Those
is.
dudes are really good. Those Tetris kids are really good. That hyper tapping crap that they do,
Hmm.
man, my hands would break. My old man hands would break. I couldn't do it. Although there are some older guys that compete in that are really good. So maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I would be decent, but I never been good at Tetris. I never tried it. Every time I play it, I just suck at it, and I never learned how to actually play it properly. So, did you ever play Tetris seriously at all, or anything like that?
I mean, not like competitively, but I would pass 9.5 on the highest speed. I was able to do that
Nice.
after a few attempts.
Yeah, I watch these pro players, man, and I'm like, I have no idea like what they're doing. Like I know what they're doing. I know how they're building the wells or whatever, and or the side, trying to get the Tetrises and stuff like that. But how they get there is just mind boggling. They can put together all these pieces that don't make any sense, and then suddenly it's in this perfect formation, and they get just multiple. I'm just like, man, these
Mm-hmm.
dudes are nuts. So maybe that'll be
Oh,
the next game that I learn. I don't know. I
oh,
have
that'd
no
be
idea
cool.
what's going on. Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like a lot of work though. Maybe I won't. I don't know.
Oh, and when I said 9.5 on the highest speed, I meant like the highest standard speed. I guess like they can do now where they start on like level 39 speed or something. No, I
Yeah.
never nothing like that.
Yeah. They start on like, well, some people practice on like level 29, 28 or something. I can't remember. I know that 29 is considered the kill screen, although now somebody's gotten to like 35, which is nuts. Did you ever watch that documentary, the Tetris documentary, 10 or 15 years ago? It was, forgot
I
what it's
don't think I
called.
have still.
Oh, I gotta send that to you. It's really good. It came
Yeah.
out around the same time King of Kong did.
Hmm. Was it a Tetris Effect or
No,
different one?
it was about the first NES Tetris tournament, basically.
All right, I don't think I've seen it now.
Yeah, it was like Harry Hong, and it was like Harry Hong and Ben Mullen and like Thor Ackerland, who won the 1990 NES championships. Um, it was really cool. It's very much in the vein of King of Kong. So I'll send a link to you. It's got a weird name. I forgot what it's called. It's the name of it is nothing like Tetris related. It's just like some I can't even think of it. I think it starts with an E. But anyway, I'll
Oh,
send it to you.
Ecstasy of Order.
That's it.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
That's the one. It's so good. I love that movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I've never seen it actually. I should. I
yeah.
should
That was
see
the
all
dawn, I
these.
think, of that was the dawn, I think, of all this Tetris championship stuff. Like it all started, I think, with that. A couple guys had a vision. They said they want to get Tetris to be serious, and here we are. Now it's really big. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
Tetris is a lot easier to watch, I think, than Donkey Kong. Nobody wants to sit there for 3 hours. Tetris is like quick game and head to head, and seems a lot easier to watch. You just come in and come out and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
The
I can't
music's
see.
catchier. Although any music will get old if that's all you ever
Oh
hear.
man, I don't even hear it. You know what's funny is like my buddy Eric. He's always like, "Dude, I have to mute your stream every time I watch you." I'm like, "Why? I got good music playing." And he's like, oh, "I can't listen to Mario. He's so annoying, and the sounds that he makes and stuff like that." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right, they do." Because you know what? At this point, I don't even hear them anymore. They're literally burnt out of my mind. So I forget there's actual sound in the game. The only thing I'm listening to is like the hammer for like how long I'm going to have it, how many swings I'm going to have. But yeah, it's just funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, because he's like, I can't listen to it. It's the most annoying game sound in the world. So yeah, I'm numb. I'm numb, Walter. I don't hear it anymore. I'll drink to that.
There you
Uh, are you playing anything good?
go. Playing right now Final Fantasy One. There's a challenge. There's a guy who runs something called the 4-Job Fiesta, which is a Final Fantasy V campaign for charity every summer, and I always play in that. I love it.
That's awesome.
And he's doing kind of an offshoot fall one for Final Fantasy One. I'm playing on NES right now.
Nice. Oh, you have to stream, sir. You gotta stream it.
I should. My problem is I usually like I'll have like videos I want to watch, and so I kind of play while watching those, and that's kind of how I get caught up on stuff.
I hear you. I hear
a bit
you.
awkward to do with a stream.
Yep. I hear you so loud. Like when I play something, I always have like another like stream up. But if I stream, I can't do that. You can only play the game. Yeah. So I know what you mean.
I do want to stream a little more here and there, especially trying out MAME streaming.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Be fun to watch. I'll be there. You gotta get affiliates, Sarah. You get affiliate, I'll be your first sub.
Oh, nice.
I got you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think that gives me like a founder badge or something. I think like the first sub to somebody's channel gets like you're like the first sub. It's got its own badge or something like that.
Oh, cool.
That's my goal. That's my
2021 affiliate. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I just made some sub badges actually for my stream a couple days ago. It's pretty cool. Like you can have like a icon for like somebody who has like a 1 month sub to your stream. You can have a different icon for somebody who's been there for 3 months or 6 months or a year. So I made all these swords from Final Fantasy. My buddy Carson made them. They're like little 8-bit swords he made in paint. So the 1 month sub is like it's like a wooden broken broadsword. Then the 3 months, a crystal sword. And then the 6th month is like this cool like black sword. The 9 month is this like red fire looking sword. And then the 1 year is a sword that's literally on fire.
Oh,
so
cool.
I thought that was cool. Yeah, it's like you just progress up to more powerful swords. And if I ever get a partner or an actual partner in one day, they'll give me like 2 months or 2 years and 3 years. And so I got to keep making powerful swords.
Oh, cool. You're affiliate right now?
I'm affiliate. Yep. Affiliate's when you can average, I think affiliate, you need to have 50 followers and you need to average 5 viewers for like a couple weeks or something like that. And so I got really lucky and I think I was doing pretty well in Donkey Kong. And, the deeper you get in Donkey Kong, the more people that tune in. So it eventually averaged me out to 5 for a little while there. Nice. And I got it. So yeah.
Very cool.
And if you want to do it, sir, I will create 10 accounts and I will watch them on 10 different browsers. Now, I don't know if Twitch would know that I did that, but that would probably be really shady. Maybe I won't do that. Maybe that'll get you banned. Probably not a good idea.
I'd love to get more into streaming at some point. Right now, I got other projects I'm working on, but
yeah, I hear you.
Definitely want to stream for fun here and there.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to seeing it, sir. It's good to have you in Discord. Are you in the Kong League Discord?
I don't think I am. I should be.
I'll invite you. If you're not, I'll invite you. Yeah. Cool, man.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good finally talking to you.
Yeah, it's good finally talking to you, seeing you face to face and stuff. Well, again, as face to face as we get in these times.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no, thanks again for having me, buddy. I appreciate it.